We're thrilled to be joined by the king of Lifrack City in New York City, of Queens, New York. Love watching him with Charles and Ernie and Shaq on the NBA on TNT. And he is here as well as part of the Jet Academy at jetacademycamp.com, where so many kids are. We need to get them outside and outdoors if we can in the pandemic and get them moving around. And what better way to do it than have basically right now an online camp for basketball fans to log in anywhere in the world. And that's how Kenny Smith is rolling into the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Kenny?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Better for talking to you. How's everything in your world? Everything. I got to tell you, Kenny, and I said this to Shaq when he joined me on Monday. It's like seeing old friends. And in this day and age where everybody's zooming in and not really being able to be together, we're thrilled that we're able to be together here in our studio, socially distant. Seeing you four guys in Atlanta doing your thing has just been a treasure. It really has, Kenny.
Well, I appreciate that. It's definitely been therapeutic as well, so which I didn't know. So it's been good to have everyone back, and you do miss some of the normacies of life. With everything going on, and I do agree, and take that into great consideration as I hear it.
Okay, great, excellent. Who's the least socially distant one, though? That you need to make sure that everybody's cool. Which guy has been infringing on your space? Is that Charles? Because he's one right next to you.
No. You know what? Probably you have to remind Shaq the most. You have to remind him the most.
Well, he's also trying to run. He's trying to beat you to your spot half the time.
Beat me to the board. He almost tried to wrestle. Chuck one night. He's the one you have to remind the most.
Well, the funny thing is, I think
he's just so playful.
I think Charles went on Dan's show before this one right here on Peacock and said that he's going to get out of the predicting business for a while. Kenny.
I'm like I'll be a billionaire if I just go opposite of him. I'm just hoping that he continues it. I don't want him to stop. I definitely don't want him to stop. Because all you have to do if you're anyone who is a betting person, just bet opposite. He is on a roll for the opposite.
He's certainly on that. I mean, but he did look pretty smart after Game 1, I guess, when the Blazers took care of business against the Lakers. Is this the Lakers team, the one that we're seeing the last three games that we're expecting to see at least take the conference? Kenny?
Well, I think overall, this is a Laker team. The West is so loaded that to predict that one team or two teams is going to just run through it after the bubble, I think is a different scenario. If prior to the bubble, this is the Laker team we've seen, but we've seen some teams step up over the last 2.5 weeks that traditionally we probably hadn't thought that could do that.
So out of the Rockets, Thunder, or Jazz, which is the team you think the Lakers least would want to see next up?
I don't think they're fearful of anyone because they walk on the court and LeBron James and AD goes, well, we have an advantage. So
right.
I don't think that they ever fear anyone. So but I think that scoring the ball, in the last 3 games has been something that we had not seen. Their ability to kind of, go over 100 easily, we had not seen even in the bubble. So if they could continue that type of atmosphere with their defensive tenacity, then, that's when it, I think, takes another level. And that's when Kentavious Caldwell-Pope and Danny Green and JaVale McGee, when they're able to get those 10 to 15 points and Dwight Howard, that's when they're at their most dangerous. Because even if AD and LeBron play great, that's only 90 points at best. One gets 50, one gets 40. That would only be 90 points. That's not going to beat most teams. So they're going to need key contributions from everyone as well.
I'll give you the floor on Luka. I know what you said, but I'll give it to the show Quadcast listeners and viewers right now. The performance that Luka came up with in that overtime game to knot the series at 2 games apiece. People are referring to magic than the time where he played center in place of the injured Kareem. Where do you think that stands and he stands for you, Kenny?
I mean, what makes a great is not a series or a season. It's the consistency over several. That's what makes LeBron who he is. It's like over the years, like he's done this. And so, I mean, as great as that exhibition was of what he did, it's the consistency of doing that night in and night out, playoff time after playoff time, and winning series and advancing. I think that's what makes, the greats the great. Now, arguably, we look at what I always said when he came into the bubble, this is not 2020 Luka. This is the Luka we would have been seeing next year, the MVP candidate. So you talk about him, you talk about Donovan Mitchell, you talk about Dame Lillard, and you talk about, even a guy like Devin Booker, where they've all taken that like, oh, I'm here for 2021 season. This is how they're probably going to look next year because, that long layoff allowed them to kind of retool and rethink.
Yeah, and you could throw Jamal Murray in that mix too, which I guess leads me to ask, because we haven't hit the Clippers yet, and we will. Who are we not talking about? Is it the Raptors who just steamrolled the Nets? Who are we not talking about to get a shot here to take this wide open, seemingly tournament?
I still think that the Clipper series isn't over. I wouldn't say it's over. If they have a couple of days or a day, and if Porzingis is able to come back, that still could be an interesting series. But the Rockets, with Russ Westbrook, if he comes back, and he's able to play, then all of a sudden you're like, wow, this could be a mix that we hadn't seen. I think the one thing that we've seen over the playoffs with James Harden is that he gets wore down as the series go on because the ball is in his hand so much in that system. But with Russell Westbrook, he doesn't. And that's what I think Oklahoma City's taking advantage of is like he's got the ball so much in his hand, we could contain some of these things that happen now. And Utah, with Donovan Mitchell, the way he's playing,
right,
and the way he's shooting the basketball and the ability that he's playing at, those teams, both Denver and Utah, with Jamal Murray, the West is wild, and it is wide open.
Yeah, the Rockets and the Thunder are playing to tipping off 5 hours from now, and it's just in a couple hours from now, apparently, according to Woj, that Russell Westbrook's going to give it a try. Do you think it's imperative that he play in this Game 5, the way that things are playing out right now? The way that the Rockets have shot the ball at the end of Game 4 and just died by the three that they frequently live by? Kenny?
Yes, I think it's important for him to play because even though as great as James is, I think he does need that, okay, I don't have to be the initiator all the time. Maybe I could be the finisher. And, kind of like LeBron did all of his career. Dwayne Wade and Kyrie Irving and all of those guys who made it easy for him to not always be the initiator. And I don't think Russ – I don't think James gets that. And, those guys are really great players, but to be the initiator on every single play, on every single possession, would wear anyone out.
Do you think the Celtics and the Raptors might not play, Kenny? That the conversations that they're having over the shooting of Jacob Blake would actually they tap?
Well, I think we all, are in a reactionary thought process of what's going on. Like, I know that, for the first time last night, even watching Doc Rivers speak, I was like, man, I really, the first time felt that being in the bubble, the guys felt helpless. Like, well, I'm in the bubble, and I can't even do anything. I can't join a march. I can't do anything. And at times, if I'm not playing, I'm just sitting in my room. And I think that feeling is starting to come out. I don't know if I don't know the right answer to that, honestly, Rich. I think the correct answer is whatever they do, you have to support because some things are bigger. Guys miss games because of family or birth of their children, and if they feel that this is important as a team to miss because mentally their minds aren't in that space to play basketball, I think we'd have to respect that because they've also given us time to play in a profession, in that bubble that is uncharacteristic of anything that we've ever seen in our lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, Jaylen Brown, who we know appeared at many protests in the wake of the shooting of George Floyd, tweeting out, essentially, I wish I could go do that. Like, he literally said those words, Kenny.
Right. Well, I didn't know that. And again, it's just a helpless feeling if you're in a bubble, and think about it, in Disney.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Like, the ironic part of that is that you're in Disney, and you're supposed to be, callous or not even thinking about what's going on in the world. And because you haven't been part of the world, you've been in this 3-mile radius for months and months. And this is the kind of the thought process that I can understand. Like, I didn't understand it until last night, and I saw the passing, and I was like, well, Doc doesn't have that release. He doesn't get to release that like I do. I can do things out. I'm mobile. I'm able to, go see friends and talk to my family and go talk to my nephews and my nieces, and I'm mobile. Where he is stuck in a bubble, and he can't do that. So he doesn't have the release, and we saw it firsthand last night.
Kenny, the Jet Smith from NBA on TNT, joining me here, the 2-time NBA champion on the Rich Eisen Show. And you've seen what's going on in the real world, and kids are cooped up, man. And to get them out, get them active, and get them part of a basketball world, jetacademycamp.com. Walk me through what you thought of this and what you're doing with it right now, Kenny.
Well, Rich, with the pandemic and the social distancing, all the things that my kids normally do have been canceled, and all the things I do for kids have been canceled.
Right.
So I was like, well, how can I take that? And I created the first streaming service for sports. And I did the Academy. We rolled out basketball with Kemba Walker, Trae Young, Victor Oladipo, Rihanna Stewart, Brittany Griner, and we're your personal and trainers for an hour and a half a day. And I'm rolling out a next session because we're going back to school. So we do every weekend live. You ask questions direct. We have a session where how to get a scholarship. Once we do the workout, go through all this, and then we have college coaches come on and just talk about how you get a scholarship. Most people think you got to play on a travel team to do that, or that kids have to do that. So we have that session. Then I got one for you that you should join.
Is it the one that says I want to dunk, Kenny? Is it that one?
No question. I'm gonna put 3 seconds on your 40 time, man. I'm gonna put 3 seconds. I'm gonna put 3 seconds on it, man. I got the trainers that kind of do that. They show you how all of the things that make you more explosive to the rim, to the basket. So that's you. So you will be great at the combines next year.
You know what? I need to work on that burst. You're right. I need a little burst so that I can get.
That's all it is. That's all it is. So we got that one, and then the last one I also love is I have the trainers who train the pros. I got like Chris Brinkley and Tyler Ref, who they train the James Harden, the Kevin Durant of the world. Those guys, that's who they do. So I have them on in a session. And it's a membership, just like a gym membership. You sign up, get the gym membership, and you get access to all of these things. And all you have to do is go to jetacademycamp.com. Again, jetacademycamp.com, and you sign up. And your kids get access to this anytime. Even if you miss the live session, it stays on demand. You can watch it. You can do it. You can do it multiple times if you say this is a session that I need to really work on. So, again, jetacademycamp.com, and all the kids can do that.
Yeah, again, it's September 12th through the 13th. Again, because it's on weekends, it starts at noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, and as you mentioned.
And it's all year.
Yep, and all previous sessions are available on demand. September 12th to the 13th, I want to dunk. I would like to dunk, Kenny. I mean, seriously, can you give me a little preview, a little suggestion about My desire to dunk?
There are, for explosion, there are certain plyometric things that you don't need any weights that work. I will tell you that. I never lifted weights in my life, and I was in three dunk contests in the NBA at 6'3". So it's all, I never lift, before I got grown up, I never lift weights until I got to the NBA.
Okay.
So being able to fly through the air is not all about lifting weights. Lifting weights is to preserve what you have. It doesn't always build what you have.
Well, I appreciate you not just suggesting I lower the rim. I appreciate that that you actually gave me some helpful advice. When was the last time you dunked, Kenny? When was the last time you attempted and you got up and you ripped one through?
The last time I dunked was 5 years ago.
When was that?
5 years.
What'd you do?
Last time I really attempted. I have now a turtle toe that won't go away for a year. So I'm working on that just so I can grab. So my goal now is not to dunk; it's to grab the rim with two hands. That's my goal.
All right.
Is to go up and be able to grab it with two hands.
Hey, before I let you go, it's the first time I've spoken to you in a long time. Did you learn anything from The Last Dance from your college teammate? Did anything you pick up watching The Last Dance? You go, oh, okay, I didn't know that about Michael. Anything at all?
I was just surprised how open he was. He typically has never been that open to the people outside of the sport. And so that surprised me. But the intensity, I loved it. It was like must-see TV because
Sure
I just loved the fact of how he was breaking down what most players think. It wasn't even that he thinks that way and he's the only one in the world and that's what makes him great. Most players, Rich, think that way. Everyone just can't back it up. So when you think that way and you back it up, the confidence level just continues to grow. And that's what I saw with Michael. It's like, oh, so every time he has success and you have that kind of mentality, you just get more confidence, and that's what separates great players from good players, is confidence. I get it. So that's what I learned, is that success brings, after you have confidence and you work on it, and if you have success, it just continues to breed more confidence, and you get better and better and better.
Yeah, I loved it too. My takeaway is you never wanted to be that guy on the iPad that the director handed to Michael to inform him of what was previously said. You didn't want to be on that iPad. That's it.
No question. He's like, him? You. That means you were going to get laughed at, and or you were going to get exposed.
One or the other. You did not want to be on that iPad handed to Michael Jordan. Thanks for the time, Kenny. Tell Charles through the plexiglass I said hi, and same to Ernie on either side. We had Shaq on Monday. It's been a pleasure. Let's chat soon.
Man, love being here, brother.
Right back at you. Fellow native New Yorker, Kenny the Jet Smith. Check out the Jet Academy at jetacademycamp.com. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.